way about her book, Get Off on the Right Foot. Don't let the wrong gesture ruin your day. English is the world's international language. But in your book, you focused on nonverbal communication. Why is that so important?
Well, gestures and other body language can have different meanings in different places. Something that you think is friendly or polite could come across as very rude in another culture. I've described many of these customs and cultural differences so my readers don't get off on the wrong foot when they meet people from places where the culture differs from their own.
Can greeting someone in the wrong way really lead to misunderstanding?
In some cases, yes. The firm handshake a North American expects may seem quite aggressive in other places. And a light handshake, which is normal in some countries, may seem unfriendly to a North American.
In what ways can hand gestures lead to misunderstanding?
Well, as an example, we assume all people indicate the numbers 1 to 10 with their fingers the same way. But in fact, they don't. While North Americans usually use an index finger for 1, most Europeans use a thumb. North Americans extend all 10 fingers for 10. However, Chinese indicate the numbers 1 to 10 all on one hand. For example, an extended thumb and pinky means 6, and a fist.
You see, thumb and pinky means 6 in Chinese. If you show this gesture, it means you're showing the number with 6.
Means 10.
And fist means 10. If you show this, it means 10 in Chinese language.
Imagine how confusing this can be when you're trying to communicate quantities and prices with your hands.
What other gestures can cause confusion?
Take the gesture for come here, for example. In North America, people gesture with the palm up. Well, in Southern Europe, that gesture means goodbye.
You see, if you show this picture, look at here. In North America, people gesture with palms up. In South, for example, come here. This is the meaning. I didn't know. This means come here. In South America, I don't think so, but it means come here. But if you use it in Asian countries, it means goodbye. It means goodbye. So in North America, it means come here. In Asian countries, it means goodbye. Actually, I didn't know. Very interesting.
Many Asian countries, the palm up gesture is considered rude. Instead, people there gesture with the palm down.
You see, sometimes this gesture is rude in Asian countries. They use this one, palm down, in order to show come here. Actually, well, we use it.
I've heard that in Japan, pointing with the index finger is not polite. Is that right?
Yes.
You see, pointing with index finger is not polite in Japan.
It's prefer to point with the palm open and facing up.
Surely
so when they want to show that, show something, they palm up. You see, this is palm and it is up.
Some gestures used everywhere, right? What about the thumbs up sign for great?
Sorry, that's extreme.
This is thumbs up. This gesture, the only one with one of your hand, this is thumb up.
Really rude in Australia and the Middle East. This is why it's so important to be aware of these cultural differences.
So it is not accepted in Australia and Middle East. Let's go. Check the statements that are true according to the article. Write cross next to the statements that are not true. For example, in most of Europe, thumb and index finger mean 2. We didn't have it. In North America, a thumb and pinky mean 2. No, in China, a thumb and pinky means 6. So it's not right. Japanese point and picture with open palm facing up. That's right. They use it in order to show. We had it in this part. We were talking about this gesture. And to be friendly, North American greet to others with light shake hand Did we have it? I think there was no information. Maybe in this part. Okay, everyone uses thumbs up sign for that's good. No, everyone doesn't use it. We told that in Australia and Middle East, rude. So we shouldn't use it. It's not. Almost all of them are not. Have you ever been surprised by someone's gestures or body language on TV, in the movies, or on real life? What do you see and what do you think the action means? Why were you surprised? Actually, I haven't seen the gesture that made me to be surprised. If you have seen, you can complete this part, take a photo and send it to me, please. Read the travel tips about gesture and customs around the world. Compare your own gesture and customs with those described. Do any of them seem strange or rude? For example, if someone gives you a gift, thank the person and open it right away in Ecuador. Is it strange or rude? No, actually, it's really respectful. If you want to get a server's attention, it's more polite to use eye contact rather than hand gesture. In Kenya, I actually don't use none of them. I don't know. What is your idea? Is it strange or rude? Actually, it's a kind of respecting. When a visitor is leaving your home, you should walk with that person out to the door. We have the same thing in Iran. We are respecting people. In Korea, they have the same idea too. When greeting people, older people should always be greeted first. In Mongolia, I don't know. Maybe it is rude or strange. It's not rude or strange. It's respectful. They are actually respecting each other. If you're going to be more than 5 minutes late for a party, lunch, or dinner, you should call to explain. United States, is it really about United? They don't pay attention to such kind of things. Actually, it is important to say, but I don't think it's about United States. They don't actually pay attention. Before you enter someone's home, you should take off your shoes. We do this in Iran, in Ukraine. People are doing the same thing. Yeah, it is respecting and based of the religious customs we do that. To gesture that something is good, hold your hand up, palm facing out, and slowly bring all your fingers to the thumb. In Turkey, people do that. I'm not sure about it. If you know that, you can write about it. Which one do you think is strange or rude? Which one is respectful? Write it, record your voice, read it, actually record your voice, take a photo and send it to me. No, record your voice and send it to me and take a photo of the pictures that you think are rude, strange, or respectful. Take the answers, explain all of them, and write it on a piece of paper, take a photo and send it to me. We see in this part you should write some of the topics showing respect to older people and what is the custom. It's not polite to disagree with older people. What are some customs in your country that you think that are respectful, strange, or odd? For example, look at this topic, showing respect to older people. We can write about it. Do and don'ts for the gestures. Topic for polite small talks. Invitations. What do you do for invitations? You can write it here and explain it here. For example, for giving gifts, when someone gives you a gift, what would you do? Or what you shouldn't do? What should you say? You can write it, select one of them, write about it, make a topic and complete this part. And are the rules the same for both men and women? How about young people or older people? Explain it completely based on the topics that you have selected. Take a photo and send it to me, please. Let's go to the vocabulary. Number 12, let's read.
Page 10. Before you listen. Exercise A. Vocabulary. Participial adjectives. Read and listen.
The safari was fascinating. They were fascinated.
The ski trip was thrilling. They were thrilled.
Thrill means causing excitement. Excitement.
The skydive was frightening. They were frightened.
The food was disgusting. They were disgusted.
You see, when we talk about a person, the adjective that we use, we add ed. And when we are talking about something which is not a person, it's not a human being, when we want to explain the adjective we use ing. برای صفتی که برای انسان به کار برده میشه مثل این جملات پایین از ed استفاده میکنیم. صفتی که برای غیر از انسان استفاده میشه مثل جملات بالا، این صفتایی که در قسمت بالا آمده از ing استفاده میکنیم. This is really important. Keep it in your mind. Okay, let's go to the listening part. Listen and number them. You see there, for example, we are going to talk about Andrew, Nancy, or Miko. You should listen to this part and number which person is talking. Listen, please. Number 13.
Page 10. Listening comprehension. Exercise A. Listen to classify. Listen to the 3 interviews. Interview 1.
This is Nick Krakauer, and you're listening to World Reflections. We're talking today with Nancy Sullivan from Minneapolis in the United States. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nick.
So, Nancy, I understand you're a real traveler, that you've visited over 25 countries around the world.
That's right.
Tell us some of the places you've been to.
Well, I've been to countries all over, North and South America, Europe, Asia.
What have been the most fascinating places for you to visit?
Well, I like visiting countries where the culture is really different from my own. That's what I find most interesting. Different body language, different foods, you know.
You told me earlier you've been to India. What was that like?
Oh, India is fantastic.
And what was so different about it?
Well, for one thing, when people say yes, they shake their heads from side to side instead of up and down like I do.
Interview 2.
Nick Krakauer here, hosting World Reflections. Today's guest is Andrew Barlow from Perth, Australia. G'day, mate.
G'day to you.
So, Andrew, I understand you've been a teacher overseas. Is that correct?
I have been, yes.
And I understand you have an interesting story about something you ate once in one of those countries.
That's right.
Tell us about it.
Well, this happened when I got my first teaching job in a very small village. The people in the village wanted to thank me for coming, so they prepared a meal with a lot of really delicious dishes.
That must have been nice.
It was, but there was one thing that I thought was kind of, well, disgusting. They had these tiny little fish that were still alive. They were moving on the plate.
Whoa!
Yeah, you're supposed to put one in your mouth and swallow it whole.
Oh, boy!
Look, I was their guest. I didn't want to be impolite, so I tried one. But I could feel it moving as it went down into my stomach. I tried a few to be nice, but I just didn't know how to say thanks, but no thanks, without being rude.
Interview 3.
We're back on World Reflections. My next guest is Mieko Nakamura from Sendai, Japan. Welcome, Mieko.
Hi, Nick.
Mieko, I've been told that you've traveled a lot and you've done some unusual things.
I have.
That you especially like to do, well, things that would be kind of frightening for most people.
I guess that's true, but not scary to me, just very exciting.
So, tell us about what you've done.
Well, for one thing, I've gone swimming with sharks. Twice.
What?
Swimming with sharks.
For real? And you didn't find that scary?
Well, I didn't do it alone. I was with a group. But swimming so close to the sharks was really thrilling.
And what else?
Last year, I climbed Mount Everest.
The world's highest mountain?
Yes,
I'll bet it was really cold.
it was. But I was really thrilled to be standing on the top of the world.
Now listening.
Okay, let's go to this part. We are going to listen again and answer the questions. For example, how many countries has she visited? For example, Nancy, we are going to talk about her. Listen about her. How many countries has she visited? You should write the name, number of the countries. For example, 25. What did she notice about the gesture in India? You see, you should complete this part. Listen.
Again, and write the number of the speaker described by each statement. Interview 1.
This is Nick Krakauer, and you're listening to World Reflections. We're talking today with Nancy Sullivan from Minneapolis in the United States. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nick.
So, Nancy, I understand you're a real traveler, that you've visited over 25 countries around the world.
That's right.
Tell us some of the places you've been.
Visit 25 countries all over the world.
Well, I've been to countries all over North and South America, Europe, Asia.
What have been the most fascinating places for you to visit?
Well, I like visiting countries where the culture is really different from my own. That's what I find most interesting. Different body language, different foods, you know.
You told me earlier you've been to India. What was that like?
Oh, India is fantastic.
And what was so different about it?
Well, for one thing, when people say yes, they shake their heads from side to side instead of up and down like I do.
Interview 2.
Nick Krakauer here, hosting World Reflections. Today's guest is Andrew Barlow from Perth, Australia. G'day, mate.
G'day to you.
So, Andrew, I understand you've been a teacher overseas. Is that
You
correct?
see, in this part, you should say what did the people in the village do to thank him, and why did he eat something he didn't want to.
I have been, yes.
And I understand you have an interesting story about something you ate once in one of those countries.
That's right.
Tell us about it.
Well, this happened when I got my first teaching job in a very small village. The people in the village wanted to thank me for coming, so they prepared a meal with a lot of really delicious dishes.
That must have been nice.
It was, but there was one thing that I thought was kind of, well, disgusting. They had these tiny little fish that were still alive. They were moving on the plate.
Whoa!
Yeah, you're supposed to put one in your mouth and swallow it whole.
Oh, boy.
Look, I was their guest. I didn't want to be impolite, so I tried one. But I could feel it moving as it went down into my stomach. I tried a few to be nice, but I just didn't know how to say thanks, but no thanks, without being rude.
Interview 3.
So in this part, you should say what has she done twice. I guess she was swimming with sharks, and how did she get to the top of the world? Listen.
We're back on World Reflections. My next guest is Mieko Nakamura from Sendai, Japan. Welcome, Mieko.
Hi, Nick.
Mieko, I've been told that you've traveled a lot and you've done some unusual things.
I have.
That you especially like to do, well, things that would be kind of frightening for most people.
I guess that's true, but not scary to me, just very exciting.
So, tell us about what you've done.
Well, for one thing, I've gone swimming with sharks. Twice.
What?
Swimming with sharks.
For real? And you didn't find that scary?
Well, I didn't do it alone. I was with a group. But swimming so close to the sharks was really thrilling.
And what else?
Last year, I climbed Mount Everest.
The world's highest mountain?
Yes,
I'll bet it was really cold.
it was. But I was really thrilled to be standing on the top of the world.
Okay. Answer the question, explain what happened, write as many details as you can. For example, have you ever been to some place that was really fascinating? Write about it. Have you ever eaten something that was really strange or disgusting? You can write about it here, and you should write about the details too. Have you ever done something that was really thrilling or frightening? Thrilling means something which is really exciting. Write it, take a photo, complete this part, take a photo, and send it to me. Listen to the conversation with a tourist in Vancouver and say check yes or no. And then listen again and write the answers to the question with using yet or already. For example, you can say, for example, have you ever been to Vancouver? And then, for example, say yes, she has been there. Okay? You can complete it with already. She has already been there. Let's listen, number 15.
Page 12. Exercise A. Listen to the conversation with a tourist in Vancouver and check yes or no.
Welcome to Vancouver. When did you get here?
Just yesterday, thanks.
Oh, that's great. Have you done any sightseeing yet?
Yes, I have. I've already been to the Vancouver Aquarium,
I love the aquarium.
and I took a tour of Gastown.
Cool. Have you been to the top of Grouse Mountain yet?
Not yet. Is it nice?
Oh, yeah. The sky right up is great. You shouldn't miss it. And you should definitely visit the Capilano Suspension Bridge. It's a great place to take pictures.
Oh, that sounds great. You know, Everyone tells me I should try dim sum while I'm here.
Definitely. It's really delicious. And they bring the food right to your table, and you choose what you want.
Sounds like fun. Oh, did I mention that I went to the top of the Harbor Center Tower this morning?
No. Actually, I've never done that myself.
You should. It's a beautiful view. Vancouver is a great city.
Well, I hope you enjoy your stay.
Thanks.
Okay. Let's go to this part. Use the photos to write questions using present perfect with ever and before. For example, and be careful. Do not use the same verb more than once. So be careful. For example, Brazilian barbecue. Have you ever tested? Have you ever tested Brazilian barbecue? Have you been in Mount Fuji before? Have you been in Mount Fuji before? For these two, you complete the sentences, take a photo and send it. Write about one of the interesting experiences you talked in lesson 4 and describe what happened. For example, I had a few frightening experiences in my life. Last year I was on vacation. What was the interesting experience that you have in your life? You can write a paragraph about it. You can use present perfect, text, tense, actually for real grammar. Write it, take a photo, and send it to me. Let's go to this part. Okay, in this part, create a conversation for the man and the woman in photo 1. For example, welcome to Paris. Have you ever been here before? Create a conversation for the second picture. For 3 people, imagine they have get reacquainted. It means, for example, they have met before, but for example, they don't remember that, and they are seeing each other, visiting each other again. Have you met? For example, they are talking. You should think about it. Read this part. Use your imagination. Make a conversation and send it to me. Look at the brochure and imagine that you are on one of these tours. You see there are 5, many tours here. Imagine you are on one of them. Ask and answer question using present perfect. For example, have you tried tapas yet? This is a food from Madrid in Spain. Have you, for example, write about them. You should write the question and answer. For example, have you ever been in Millenniumville in UK? Have you ever visited Eiffel Tower in France? Make question and answer. Have you ever tasted gelato in Italy? This is a kind of ice cream. Complete this part, take a photo of question and answer and send it to me. Have a nice time and bye bye.